a Teams meeting. And with that, I'll turn it over to the chairman.
Town Housing Authority meeting to order Tuesday, March 17th. Are there any concerns? No, we're good. No. Kevin, you want to jump up to the budget or?
Yeah, thank you. If we could turn it over to Sarah. We have two guests with us this morning from CBIZ, our fee accounting firm. Brittany, good morning. And we also have Mike Geider, who is a new father. So, Mike, congratulations
for the third time.
For the third time. Well, right, you're an old hand at it now, but a new baby into your life. So, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm just myself getting set up here in a remote location. So I'll have the budget up in just a second. Sarah, is there anything that you want to add as we get started?
Yes, the budget was based on historical data and projections. They put together the budget for us, and then Kevin and I were able to give it a look and make some adjustments where we felt it was relevant, and we think that we have a pretty solid budget going into fiscal year 27.
I will say it was a more participatory process than perhaps it has been in the past, particularly as it relates to management input into the process. We were able to look at extraordinary maintenance as well as equipment replacement, and take a much more, I would say, strategic approach as to forecasting what our needs were going to be in those areas. So I think that was a better process. As far as salaries go, it was based on the assumption of a 3.5%, matching the union contract. Not surprisingly, we're continuing to see, at least based on the 2026, and we anticipate carrying over to 2027, some increases in benefits linked primarily to health insurance. As you may know, we made some. We changed our plan, not the coverage, but I guess we switched to a different exchange, and we're able to secure some savings for 2026. We will continue to work with our insurance consultant, to ensure that we're getting the best possible coverage at the best possible price. I do have one thing that I want to touch base on under new business, but with that, I'll turn it over to Michael and Brittany. You should have a copy of the budget in front of you. Is that correct, Sarah?
So I'll start at the top with rental income for both RAD Sheldon Towers and RAD Templewood Court. The tenant portion of rent and the HAP portion of rent have been adjusted according to the HAP contract. So we have a fairly predictable source of revenue between rental income and the HAP portion, and that's up about $73,000 in total from the prior year. In the voucher programs, Section 8 and mainstream. We are expecting an increase in HAP expense due to increasing contract rents. Whether or not we realize these increases in HAP and admin fees really depends on to what extent the authority is able to fully lease vouchers. Shortfall, management of shortfall with HUD continues to be an issue, which is essentially HUD not having enough money in the budget to fully fund the voucher program. So there may be restrictions that continue in 2026, limiting the number of vouchers that the authority can actually lease. That will have a direct impact on ultimately on total HAP expense and administrative fees earned for the year. In the Ross program, the authority is eligible to earn approximately $83,000 to fund that resident service activity, and we're projecting $581,000 of revenue available to fund the SASH program. Investment income across the board, I think, has been higher than what was budgeted previously. So we've aligned interest income, based on historical experience and current interest rates, and then we continue to benefit from the rooftop lease at Sheldon Towers, which is expected to bring in about $186,000 in revenue. The authority is also projected to earn about $266,000 from management fees and expense reimbursements for the management of the Hickory tax credit properties, and so that's accounted for under Hickory admin. Overall,
Mike?
Yes. Yep.
Next question. Your investment income, we're budgeting 58,000 in total.
Yep.
Last year, 33,000.
Yep, I think we were just under budgeted last year.
Last year, under fund. I thought you said over. Sorry. Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So overall, we're expecting about a $900,000 increase in revenue. However, the majority of that would be HAP revenue, which is just going to fund HAP expense. True cash flow wise, to the authority, to the bottom line, we're expecting an increase of roughly 400,000, but that really depends on what the funding situation is for the voucher program, and we do expect that HUD is going to increase administrative fees by about 5% from 2025. Again, that does depend on the overall volume of vouchers that are leased. So as HAP expense goes, admin fee goes, we may not see increases of quite what we budgeted, but we've made our best guess. Administrative salaries, as Kevin and Sarah mentioned, administrative and maintenance salaries across the board were increased by 3.5%. And Sarah, Kevin, were there any new positions added? To refresh my memory.
We budgeted for an open SASH coordinator position, but aside from that, everybody was given a 3.5% cost of living adjustment.
Michael, we are shifting things around a bit in the office, but there are no net new positions.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so it was a 3.5% increase across the board. You would see in the budget summary that there's a 14% increase in admin salaries. But there was a change in classification between some tenant service related positions and admin. So the SASH department tenant service salaries line item under line item 92,100 is down 76,000. So there's just some shifting of those expenses. But overall existing positions were increased 3.5%. The employee benefit expense is averaging about 42% of total salaries. For some reason, what was budgeted for benefits did not populate in the schedule, so it appears as though there's a significant increase. But I think 40 to 45% has been fairly consistent historically. Yeah, 42% of total salaries is on the high side, but the authority does participate in the Vermont pension system in addition to the health insurance plan. So there are some obligations there that contribute to that somewhat high benefit rate. Other administrative expenses, for the most part, were increased by about 4%. And then we've accounted for tenant service expenses in line with the expected grant awards. So SASH, for example, we currently have allocated costs that are relatively close to what we're expecting and for total grant funds available. Right now, that program is just showing a deficit for the year of 7,200. We're budgeting a deficit of 7,200 for 2027. But we also expect that that's going to be that our overall approach to the budget is a conservative approach. We're budgeting some deficits in some programs, but we do expect that the authority will should outperform the budget. Utilities are utilities are a little bit of a mixed bag based on historical experience over the last 12 months compared to the prior year budget. We're expecting a decrease in water expense for budget purposes. I think that water expense was a bit over budgeted historically. We're expecting increases in electricity expense, and gas and fuel are about the same as last year's budget. Some slight changes there. Maintenance expenses, the biggest change on maintenance expense was to break out the expenses in a bit more detail. So a lot of expenses are related to unit turnovers. We'll be splitting that cost out where it had been consolidated previously. Yeah, but we want to get that split out as much as possible to get a bit more transparency in the classification of maintenance expenses. So we'll be adding expense line items related to unit turnover, to cover such things as like flooring and painting, and that should improve visibility into that line item. And then we also increased extraordinary maintenance rather significantly. Kevin or Sarah, do you want to add some color to that?
Yeah, we met with property management Gretchen and our maintenance foreman, John Jordan, prior to putting this budget together to ascertain what, if any, major projects were anticipated for the next 12 months, at which we identified a significant amount. I think we're budgeted towards like 405,000 at first, and we were able to work backwards. That includes roof replacement at Sheldon, painting, parking lot upgrades here at Sheldon or at Templewood, among some other things. I think that covers it. Kevin, did I miss anything?
I don't believe so. I would just remind the board that a budget is a roadmap, and all of the capital improvements that we tried to include in the budget may or may not happen, or the priorities may shift during the course of the year. And I will have a report on a major expenditure under the CEO's report.
And Kevin, you do have, I think, significant, capital reserves through which to fund those projects, correct?
That's correct. Of course, I never like to spend capital reserves, and for that reason, I'm constantly seeking out OPM, other people's money. And that'll be one of the items I'll cover under my CEO report. But yes, to answer your question, we do have significant capital reserves, but we also have significant capital projects that are sort of on the back burner that we'd like to pull up.
Mm. Moving on from maintenance, insurance expense, we're expecting increases in property insurance and workers' comp. So the insurance expense has been projected based on the best available data that we have for those policies.
If I may interrupt for a minute, we may see,
Sure.
as a result of our loss ratio related to the Sheldon Towers fire, we may also see a bit of an increase because of that.
And then payment in lieu of taxes is simply a formula calculation. Revenue, rental income minus utilities times 10%. And we've accounted for a minimal bad debt expense of $5,000 for both Sheldon Towers and Templewood. That brings us to the bottom line. Actually, for Sheldon Towers and Templewood, we're also accounting for some replacement of equipment, $60,000 in total, split between the two. And so we'll look at the bottom line after that. net income loss after capital and extraordinary expenditures, which brings us to about a break-even point for Sheldon Towers, a deficit of $134,000 for Templewood. But I think that, yeah, that we need to consider both for Sheldon Towers and Templewood that we're anticipating some significant capital expenditure and utilizing the capital reserve. So those, those deficits are largely a direct result of that anticipated spending. In the voucher program and mainstream, we're projecting a total surplus of about $90,000 between the two. That will largely depend on what the authority's leasing activity is, and how much of an impact shortfall has in 2026, in calendar year 26, and then beyond into the first quarter of 27. The shortfall was a big issue industry wide in 2025, and we'll just have to wait and see what kind of impact that has in 26. The Ross program and the SASH program ultimately should operate at about a break-even point, as they're largely cost reimbursable grants, and we expect to generate a surplus of about $60,000 on Hickory, on the management of the Hickory properties. Reserve wise, there's a reserve analysis at the bottom that you should be able to see. Between Sheldon Towers and Templewood, the two of those combined, we have very reasonable reserves when measured against average monthly operating expenses. With a projected use of capital reserves, we are projecting an ending overall deficit for Templewood, but we do have some fungibility between Sheldon Towers and Templewood, and I think we'll need to we may need to rely on that fungibility between the two to stabilize Templewood long term. The voucher program and mainstream both have more than enough reserves, very substantial reserves in those programs. On a go-forward basis, we can also explore shifting more costs or administrative costs from the RAD programs to the voucher programs. That's something that we've been conscious of, and the more that we can do that going forward, the better. I think we're better off generating deficits in Section 8, given the amount of those reserves. But right now, the budget that we've prepared, I think, is reasonable, and the cost allocation is a reasonable basis of allocation, an acceptable basis of allocation. We just may need to be a little bit more aggressive with that allocation going forward. And then the authority also has substantial reserves in the Hickory management program. So overall, we're projecting, I think, a modest bottom line for 2027. It is a conservative estimate. We do expect the authority to outperform the budget. We have some reserve sensitivity on Templewood Court, but we're aware of that, and You'll be keeping that in mind on a go-forward basis. But overall, the authority is in a very good overall reserve position, and we do expect that to improve in 27.
Any questions for Mike or Brittany?
On the fuel, I see that's about half of our utilities, about $94,000 of the 5% increase. Is there any, and I'm no budgeting expert, either professionally or personally, but should we be making some adjustment on the fuel based on the current price of fuel oil, or is that not a good idea?
Get the heat pumps in here.
That's what we need here. But I mean, 5% increase, I paid 50% more on my way back from Mexico than I did on my way down. So, and I know usually it goes up really fast and it takes a long time to go down. So I have no idea, no way to predict, obviously, but it seems like 5% increase.
I think given the events of the last couple of weeks, it wouldn't be unreasonable to increase that projection. What do you think, Kevin?
I think that probably makes sense. Why don't we, when I get back into the office, Sarah and I will take a look at that and partner with you to determine what that increase should be. The other area that I'd like to look at, unrelated, but since we're on the topic, I think that our HUD mandated RAD replacement reserve is a little low, so we may want to up that by a few dollars, but we'll take a look at that when I get back and determine what the net impact will be, and make a final determination in the form of a future revision of the budget. So unless there's any other questions, Mr. Chair, I would request approval of the action item for the 2027, actually 2026, 2027 budget, consolidated budget.
Will we approve resolution 2026-3, the consolidated budget for 2027 fiscal year in 31?
Do a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes.
Great. I'd like to thank both Brittany and Michael for joining us this morning. They have been, along with Christina, invaluable during the transition onboarding Sarah. So thank you again for all your help and guidance.
Happy to be a resource. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to backtrack and introduce Laura Medlin. I think she's still there.
He's here.
I will not, in the interest of protecting both Laura and myself, I will not tell you how long we've known each other and the many, many opportunities that we've had to work together over the years. Laura has come on, Laura has been our SASH wellness nurse for quite some time now. And she has moved into the position of SASH implementation manager to provide some assistance to Carol and to get some of the stuff off her plate. So Laura, if you want to give the board a little background, that would be helpful.
Little background on me.
Yes.
A couple of these guys know me. I've been a nurse for 40 years in Rutland. Born here, raised my kids here. I've worked in regional hospital a few times as a employee health nurse, magnet project coordinator. And even on the floors, have run one of the nursing homes here, the director of nursing, spent the last 10 years at Bayonne doing transitional care and education and clinical management. And have been the SASH wellness nurse here for the 2 community panels for about the last. A lot more than that, in the last 40 years, but those are the big ones, I think.
Thank you, Laura, and welcome.
Welcome, thanks.
Carol and I both.
For a couple of years.
Couple years.
We're gonna move back to the top of the agenda. Is that okay, Kev? Or we're gonna-
Yes, please, the minutes.
Approval of that? Oh, tenant concerns? You have any concerns? Not specifically, but yeah. Approval of the minutes from the regular meeting January 20th, 2026.
Will we approve the minutes from January 2026?
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Passes. Correspondence.
In your packet, you'll find a letter from Nibu Tilahan. Is how you pronounce his name. He is the division director at HUD, and essentially what that letter announces is the addition of $32,263 into our housing choice voucher program, otherwise known as shortfall funding. And to the best of our analysis at this point, both the housing choice voucher program and the mainstream program are both out of shortfall. That being said, HUD has put a nationwide moratorium on the issuance of new vouchers. And so we're waiting for the announcement regarding renewal funding for 2026 and when exactly we can start leasing up vouchers again. Moving on to media. I had opportunity to go before the Board of Aldermen to thank the community for their response to the Sheldon Towers fire. It was quite gratifying, and I'll spare you the list, but most of it appears in that article from Gordon dated 2/22/26. I think that our expression of thanks was well received by the Board of Aldermen, particularly in light of the fact that they were deep in the throes of trying to sort out the mayoral election, a lot of controversy there, as well as a proposed statement on the part of the Board of Aldermen as to the ICE enforcement efforts. So I think a lot of people in the meeting thought it was a breath of fresh air to hear something positive about this city in the midst of all that controversy. The other item is the announcement from FADA regarding the OCAF adjustments, operating cost adjustment factors. These apply to they apply to our RAD project-based voucher program, and I believe I don't have it in front of me, but Greg, was that 4.1% or 4.7?
I thought it was 5. I think it's 5.1 this year, wasn't it?
Is it 5.1? But at any rate, it's that gets added to the contract rents, and thus the amount of subsidy that we received from HUD. So that's we'd always like it to be higher, but that's a pretty good impact to our HAP payments for Templewood and Sheldon.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You. Consent agenda, any motion for the consent agenda? Second. Second. Any discussion? Vote in favor, say aye. There's an action item here, Kev, right now.
Yeah, we need to go back to 2026-2, the write-off of collection losses. I know that's a very high number. Much of it is related to, it's spread out between tenant accounts receivables, but also damages to the units. And I will tell you that that number will go down considerably in the future. This is our only write-off for 2025, and some of it carried over from 2024. Frankly, now that we have Gretchen at the helm, tenant account receivables are not allowed to grow. And a lot of the unit damage issues have been addressed through earlier interventions, including evictions. So I just wanted a word of explanation. I wanted to provide you with a word of explanation. I don't know if you have anything else on that, Sarah, but we would expect that to go down dramatically in 2027.
What is the money in the other due? What does that consist of?
Repairs. Repair for legal. And the other, you have rent and you have other dues. In the right.
Yeah, let me pull that up.
So that could be repayment agreement, it could be late fees. So it's $25 if they pay after the.
Repairs too.
It could be,
Repairs.
any damage that we had to get.
Yeah.
The $9,000 figure, what does that consist of? The guy who destroyed the apartment or what?
That would be unit damage.
Number two.
Yeah.
Oh, Rogers.
Yeah, Roger.
Oh, that's
That's the animal unit.
That's in the house, but on it, they all want to the names of tag,
Oh,
like
okay.
17 animals.
Okay.
And they're there.
Okay. Or-
Not the big one, yeah.
And I was-
We haven't had a write-off in a while.
No, they don't.
We have not. And like I
The
said,
last one
those,
was done by Kirsten, I think about May last year. Or close to a year.
I just asked a question about this. Why do we have 683? He's still a tenant here, got him under eviction, but it hasn't actually gone to court. So we should be writing that off just yet.
Okay.
Perform.
Is he not?
The last one.
Yeah, I told you. Yeah.
so if the board chooses to approve the write-off, then it would be to approve the write-off as amended. Generally, what happens is that after 90 days, it gets written off, and then it gets reported to. After 90 days, it gets reported to our collection agency, and then at that point, it can be written off. But it sounds to me like maybe one ended up on the list prematurely. Is that what you're saying, Gretchen?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll just modify it to reflect the fact that that name should be removed with the corresponding receivables.
I'll update it after this, Kevin, and send it to you.
So with that, Mr. Chair, we'd seek approval of the write-off.
Approve the write-off of 33,586.11 as amended. And the fiscal year 31/26. Their motion.
Move we approve the write-off as amended.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And now to the CEO report.
I'm pleased to say that the work at Sheldon Towers is long since completed. And again, I'll give a shout out to Naylor and Breen, who really went above and beyond, working with Gretchen and Greg and all staff, who went above and beyond to get Sheldon Towers back online. And I think the good news is that given the potential extent of the damage at Sheldon, the total insurance claim came in at $212,041. But that does not include the relocation expenses, which will be handled separately by the insurance company. That would be for hotel lodging and rents due to Housing Initiatives, Inc., because we had some folks stay at Bridge Housing. So we anticipate another 30,000 plus or minus from that that component of the claim. So that would bring the total loss to about $242,000.
Yeah,
Moving on to the
Kev, was the fire started with the electrical or was it just stuff next to the stove?
fire was started due to tenant carelessness, but I'll let Gretchen fill you in a little more on that.
There were paper towels on the stove that then set a crock pot on fire, and then it went up the wall to where the sprinkler went.
And it's a water damage that caused.
The water
Yeah, fire was happening.
The water
Exactly.
traveled through the electrical line and started coming out every electrical box down below.
Yeah, that was a major extent of the damage as far as sheetrock and ceilings and whatnot, and flooring. That was certainly a component, but as is always the case, water damage to the electrical system was the biggest culprit.
Right.
We are still working with the Vermont Human Rights Commission regarding the Karen Scott issue. The Vermont Human Rights Commission has taken a similar approach with Burlington Housing Authority. And as I've said before, the issue is not the settlement to the tenant, but the rather profound revisions to the reasonable accommodation policies and procedures that housing authorities employ based on industry practice, national HUD guidance, et cetera, et cetera. But we seem to be zeroing in on finalizing that, and the hope is that we can get that wrapped up pretty quickly. I keep saying wrapped up pretty quickly, but it seems to be dragging on. But we are down to one clause within the reconciliation agreement that we're mulling over, wordsmithing, et cetera, et cetera. Moving on to the Templewood Court electrical upgrades, we have submitted our application to the Vermont Community Development Program. Again, I'm sorry I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's roughly, I think, a little over $400,000. And their board meeting comes up on June 11th, and I'll be presenting before their board, trying to secure those additional funds for the electrical upgrades. We have submitted the application for the Vermont Housing Conservation Board. They will be meeting on May 11th. Again, I'll be in attendance, hoping to secure about $385,000 to fill the gap in that budget. We're also pursuing what's called the Vermont Housing Conservation Board feasibility grant, and that would be approximately $10,000 to help cover some of the engineering services that have gone into that project to date. So we're getting close, but we won't know for sure until after that June 11th meeting and the VHCB determination. We have completed the phase 1 environmental review for this project. The only, I don't want to call it a stumbling block, but certainly the issue that will need to be addressed at some level is the old laundromat. I think it was Filippo's, currently owned by John Ruggiero. There is some ground contamination, and we just need to work with the state to figure out what the current status of that site is, so we can wrap up that that study. At the same time, we're doing pretty comprehensive testing at Templewood Court for lead, asbestos, and radon. And I haven't seen those test results yet, but they should be coming soon. Gretchen, did you want to add anything to the unit testing in terms of how that's gone?
I have not heard any test results, but they were pretty quick and in and out and did what they needed to do, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, what, the environmental thing, what's, we don't own the property in Philippo.
Yeah, it's
Was it leaking to us?
they test our property as well as adjoining properties. Or not test, but they review our properties as well as adjoining properties, and certainly the state of Vermont is aware of the contamination on the Ruggiero site. We just need to address it in our phase 1 assessment that goes to HUD before we can start drawing down funds. I don't anticipate it's going to be a problem, but it certainly is a problem for the city of Rutland. And frankly, I'm a little surprised that they haven't given the money that's in the money that's available for what's called brownfield sites. I'm surprised that hasn't been addressed already, because there's grant money available.
Right.
And I will say that Mr. Ruggiero also owns the Linda Lee, the old dress factory, and there were asbestos issues there that resulted in significant fines for removing asbestos outside of the mandated parameters. Essentially, it just got ripped out instead of being remediated professionally. So there's a bit of a history here, but certainly our situation with the Filippo site is quite a bit less severe than what happened down at the dress factory. So we simply need to address it in our final report to the state. In your packet, you'll find a summary of section 79 of House 790, which was a budget adjustment act. In essence, the legislature has agreed to provide a little over $49 million to help stabilize the Section 8 program here in Vermont. This will enable housing authorities to maintain their leasing levels at the 2025 numbers. It's quite a investment on the part of the state. Thursday, I'll be meeting with the other directors from around Vermont, with the Vermont State Housing Authority director, who is really spearheaded this effort, and to whom we are enormously grateful. Not surprisingly, the process by which we'll access these monies will be cumbersome, because it is a government, but it will provide us with, as I said, an opportunity to maintain our 2025 leasing levels, which has a spillover effect on administrative fees, and certainly on our ability to lease up new vouchers or release vouchers in the future. And I'm going to skip to the Section 8 report because it's a good opportunity to talk about 133 4th Street. I forget what the actual property name is. It's the new Cornerstone development.
Maplewood Commons.
What is it?
Maplewood Commons.
Oh, yes, very, very clever. Maplewood Commons, we had, prior to shortfall, we had committed 10 project-based vouchers. And of course, at this point in time, HUD has said you can issue no new vouchers. But again, this commitment was established prior to shortfall. We are awaiting word from headquarters as to how to proceed with these 10 vouchers. Long and short of it is, if they do not, well, long and short of it is that we'll be able to access this $49 million in state funds to be able to lease up those 10 project-based vouchers, thereby increasing our utilization and increasing our base for 2027. So I think we're in pretty good shape there. Tough to get answers out of HUD right now, headquarters in particular, because there's been so many cuts and so many retirements. But I think we'll be okay. It's just a matter of Cornerstone is going to have to wait until we get guidance before we can start providing subsidy through the project-based vouchers. It's probably going to mess them up a little bit, but our hands are tied at this point. The next item on the agenda is Rutland Area Bridge Housing. I have had a meeting with I've had a meeting with who undoubtedly will be the incoming chief of police at Rutland Town to discuss the revision to the Act 250 permit, thereby no longer requiring us to have an on-site coordinator, which would be enormously beneficial from a cost standpoint. At the same time, we've been approached by Rutland Mental Health for their one of their programs. A number of their programs, they need housing for their clients. This would be a relatively low risk population, and it would result in staffing. They would be providing overnight staffing, so it would sort of kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. And if we weren't able to modify the Act 250 permit that requires us to provide someone, we could still fill that need utilizing a master lease through Rutland Mental Health that would result in some on-site staffing. So we were fortunate to have some empty units during the Sheldon Towers incident because Gretchen was able to utilize those to either temporarily or permanently provide housing for folks who are displaced. Moving on to item number 6, a lot of stuff going on as usual. Believe it or not, the tax credit compliance period for Hickory Street Phase 1 or Rutland Community Housing 1 LP is coming to an end. We've been contacted by Evernorth that they are looking to transfer full ownership of the property to Rutland Housing Authority and Housing Initiatives, Inc. I've secured Reno Cavanaugh, who helped us with the closing on Phase 1, all the HUD mixed finance work that was necessary to close that property or to close the conversion of that part of the Forest Park property to Hickory Street. It's a real milestone in terms of Hickory Street. It represents the first of 3 transfers of that property back into Rutland Housing Authority ownership rather than the limited partner ownership I have a meeting scheduled with Evernorth later this week to begin to identify what that handoff is going to look like. But yeah, I mean,
10 years? Yes,
15.
yes, yes. I was gonna say, I was down there at the first step, I really. You get 10 years of the tax house and you got like 5 more.
Yeah.
it's really quite extraordinary that that at least what one, two, three, four of us at this meeting were part of the closing at Hickory Street, and here we are 15 years later. I'm not sure what that means, whether we're gluttons for punishment, I don't know, but you know, it's pretty extraordinary that we've reached this milestone. So
We getting the property
those
for
folks are,
$1,000?
what's that?
Are we getting the property for $1,000?
I'm shooting for $1.
Okay, $1, good.
Yeah. And of course, all the
The right of first refusal, right?
oh yes, and I'd like to say I'm smart, but I don't know what it was. But that right of first refusal flows first to Rutland Housing Authority and second to Housing Initiatives Inc.
Right.
So that we had all our bases covered, depending on what today was going to look like 15 years ago. So I suspect that Housing Initiatives Inc. will actually own the property as a nonprofit affiliate of Rutland Housing Authority, and we will hold on paper the management agreement. But it's pretty much a formality.
Right. When's phase 2 coming to us?
3 or 4 years.
2014. So.
2028.
What was the placed online for
2013 for phase 2, so it'll be
Yeah.
2028.
2028?
And then 2018 for 3.
Yeah. So that's very cool. Moving on to House Bill 772, an act relating to residential rental agreements, eviction procedures, and the creation of a positive rental payment credit reporting pilot program. This bill represents significant changes to tenant landlord law. That being said, there's enough there for everyone to complain about, whether you're a landlord or a tenant. But I would say, by and large, the provisions represent significant relief to landlords. It has been passed in the House. It is now going to the Senate, where we will closely monitor any changes. But particularly around eviction proceedings, it's really going to help private landlords in particular, but also the housing authority as it relates to eviction for non-payment and eviction for cause. So we'll keep you posted on that. It's I don't know what's going to happen. It did make the crossover deadline, and again, it's important that we monitor what the Senate does in the way of changes, if any. I think I already covered the second part of Rutland Area Bridge update. And as far as staffing update goes, as Sarah mentioned, we are still looking for a SESH coordinator for the Sheldon Templewood panel, and we are currently exploring some internal changes to provide better backup to Greg and to Gretchen in the areas of, particularly the Section 8 program. We made the determination not to replace the Section 8 program manager position, but rather to redistribute the workload and to provide significant support to Greg in the area of occupancy, Gretchen in the area of unit inspections, Sarah in the area of finance. But we'll be coming to the board in April to report out on that. So with that, Mr. Chairman, that completes my report.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Have to go, but you have a forum, so. I don't pass anything. You can see that. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Carl.
Feel better. Occupancy report,
Finance.
oh, finance?
Yep.
Oh, finance, I circled finance, I thought I was done with.
So
I'm sorry about that.
page 42 is the highlights, this high level variance analysis. I'm not sure if we ended up, I didn't see in here, but there should have been, by the time. I think that they have gotten replaced with 27 budget. No, I'm sorry, it isn't here. So the budget actuals begins on page 37. So our rental revenue, is budget by $167,000. And just a reminder that includes, aside from the tenant portion of rent, Cornerstone and SBCOA and other community. Pay rent on behalf of. We had a favorable variance of $463,000, and again, it's due to funding and shortfall. Tenant income continues to be very stable. And so we exceeded projections by $45,000 for year to date. And the fiscal year ends at the end of this month, so closing in. As far as expenses, our payroll benefits were about 15 grand under budget. Admin expenses similarly 23 under budget. We were over budget as far as maintenance, and that was primarily service contract costs, so painting, other repairs in our buildings. And then I guess just a side note, this week I began working with our auditors, both Hickory 2 and 3. Those fiscal years ended 12/31/25. So I'm working with them to finalize our audit, and we finished our CH1 audit in January, and that completed in October. So all of our 25 Hickory properties should be completed in about a month.
Optimistic, aren't you? You're optimistic, aren't you?
Fingers crossed, right? But yeah, that's all I have.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Occupancy.
So since the last board meeting, at least up 2 new tenants at Sheldon Towers, and 2 at Bridge Housing, well, Gretchen and I have. We do have several more, as you can see on the board there, that will be coming up within the next month or so. Couple will be coming up hopefully very soon, in the next week or 2. And then several others will be, completed. Maintenance has to turn them over. As you guys know, there's been a lot of snow this winter, so it's taken a lot of our guys' time to do snow removal. Plus they had to finish 21 Hickory Street, which was a big project. So there's quite a bit of downtime there where they're not into the units, turning them over where they normally would be due to those reasons. And we do have a woman by the name of Charlotte, who is contracted through the Springfield Housing Authority to help get Section 8 under control. With our former Section 8 on it, there's a lot going on at the time, trying to figure out where we were with everything. We're still working through that process. We are getting much closer. Still some work to do there, but we are getting there. And hope to have a more meaningful update next month. We should be back and everything should be back pretty good at that point. It's pretty much where we're at. Our waiting lists have, as you see, have gone down quite a bit. That's just a purge of people who could respond to updates, things like that. It's coming around housing or whatever the case may be, but those have significantly reduced. That's pretty much all I have for this month.
Okay, great. Property management.
Questions in the works. I served another one yesterday that's not on here. And one more that I'm trying to put down. With the fire, I was able to allow to get 2 troubled ones out of the building, but not allow them back into the building. So, if the fire came about something good. The police are working really well down at Sheldon. They've actually now tag teamed and they have 2 officers at random times, watching each door. Resulted in quite a few arrests and warrants on people who are coming when they should be coming, that they've been looking for anyway. They did get all of Tumblewood Court's inspections completed, so next to Sheldon's are on the list. They're not just trying to keep off around.
Next, section H.
Oh, I guess I
Yeah, I
do.
think,
So like I was saying, we are working with Carla right now, Springfield to get back in, get everything back in order. There were some late research, so we had to get taken care of. Frankly, didn't know where Heather, former program manager was in this process. So like I said, spent a lot of hunting down information, trying to figure out what exactly was going on. Some other compliance stuff we were working on with inspections that had to do with section 8. So we are getting much closer. Like I said, the work's not done there, but we are getting much closer. And as you know, there's no police ups going on right now. There's no few issues. So at least we don't have that on top of it right now. Not that it's a good thing, but just, given our current circumstances, it's kind of a good thing for us, but not a good thing for people who need in our community.
Jeff, how long is Carla gonna be here? Are we gonna maintain her for a while?
We are going to maintain that contract for a while. I'll have as you may recall, I had been indicating that for the April meeting, I'll have a report as to what that relationship will look like moving forward from a operating standpoint. But we are very fortunate to have Carla. Carla is dot all I's, cross all T's type individual. She frankly has found some issues in which with the way the Section 8 program has been managed over the years, and has made those corrections, and will be assisting us in making some systemic changes to the Section 8 program so as to ensure full compliance. But we did not hear from HUD regarding the issues that we had with the 2025 CMAP submission. I'm hoping that we don't, because by the time the 2026 submission rolls around, we will hopefully have corrected any deficiencies in 2026. 2020, yeah, in 2026. So,
Okay.
thanks. So I did a great job covering the big issues under Section 8. We're waiting to hear about our renewal funding for 2027, and yes, it is March of 2026, and we still our renewal funding for 2026. Yes, it is March, and we still haven't heard. But hopefully my knock on wood, we'll know how much money we have to work with in time for the April board meeting.
Resident service.
Unless Laura has anything, I think pretty much everything speaks for itself.
Right. Page 50 is right, yeah.
Well, I'm the implementation manager, apparently. That's right there.
Does it say that? Yeah.
Yeah, it actually says that it's legal. Couple of things I'm doing is reaching out to some of the providers, to kind of explain the hypertension issues that we're doing right now, get a little more buy-in from the community. We've been getting a lot of referrals. I think all of our panels are full. We've got 32 people. So we might want to talk to them about, about getting some space there. That's huge, and we just get more and more all the time. Word of mouth is great there. We have 32 people at Parker House, and there were more than half of Lincoln Terrace we have. So we're doing we're doing really well. And I'm in obviously two of the community panels, and we're getting a lot more referrals, in rural areas. So our, especially the Appleton panel has been expanding a little bit because we've been on more like the pattern after this. Going kind of way out there, Benson, Lacey, Catherine, Middletown Springs, so we're kind of expanding there. And here. Task priorities for 2023, take care of yourself. We want our task coordinators and women to take care of themselves because we do have some challenging people, as I'm sure you guys already know. We have the community, not as much, but definitely in our building. And then we're just trying to really focus on documentation so that we're really tracking everything that's going on. We've done 570 follow-up visits. We want to increase that a little bit. Group programs are doing really well. Community, we have to work on figuring out how to do more group programs when we have community health. We don't have a lot of space to do it. And I do a lot of things at the Castleton Community Center, but it's not just a place like anybody can come and join, which is great. A lot of them don't want to sign up because they don't need the resources. And then we're doing a lot of our one-on-one visits. So, far so good.
Thank you, Eric.
Any old business or new business, Kev?
Just a couple of quick things. Housing Initiatives, Inc., that board has been sort of dormant over the last few years. We are needing to resurrect and actually to replace some directors who have either retired or for one reason or another have indicated that they can't continue to serve on that board. I have had a discussion with two separate individuals, which would bring our number up to 4. We need 3 more, so I'm working to identify some folks who can sit on that board. That 7 number is important so as to ensure an arm's length relationship, or what's known as an affiliate relationship between RHA and HII. I'll have hopefully we will have had a meeting before the next April meeting of the Board of Commissioners. One final item, when we changed, I should say, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Vermont used to administer their own health reimbursement and health savings accounts. They decided not to do that in-house anymore. They contracted with a group called Health Equity that we have that used to administer the programs. We've had some difficulties with that company and our current plan, our health reimbursement account plan. When I get back, we have another meeting scheduled with Health Equity. It may, unless we can get this resolved, it may necessitate a slight revision to our health reimbursement account. I'll need to bring that before the board if, in fact, we decide to make that change. And I won't get into the details at this point, other than to say the big issue is that staff have had some frustration accessing the funding that we provide for deductibles, and we can't have that happen. So I will be working with Sarah and Health Equity to once again try to resolve this, or we'll look to the board for a change in the program.
I know Kev, who's the city use?
They
They have their HRAs as well.
Do they self-administer, I wonder?
I know that you just go online and submit, if you go to the doctor, it goes in.
Yep.
And it's covered, so.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to
reimbursement, and it goes into your account when you set up.
we're we're trying to ascertain whether or not it's user error or issues with health equity or some combination of the two. But this has been going on since January.
Yeah, James, yeah.
In some cases, employees have had to front considerable amounts of money waiting for the reimbursement.
Yeah, I know the FSA that's combined with it. They don't like dentists. You have to actually literally say, this is a dentist bill.
Yeah. Yeah. Our HRA is designed only to cover the deductible, and
Yeah,
that's
so
what,
yeah, they have that HRA, yeah.
yeah, that's where we seem to be having the struggle. But yeah, we really need to get this resolved. And that, Mr. Chair, is unless there's questions for me, that concludes any new business.
Great.
And under the circumstances, I will not be asking for an executive session unless the board wishes to have one, in which case we can move into
I
executive
think
session.
we're okay.
Okay, great.
Motion to adjourn. Moved. Second. All in favor, say aye. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
You can still say yes.
Oh, geez, he's that close to.
I know.
Yeah, you're right in the middle.